Welcome to Healthcare Musings, a podcast dedicated to the discussion of critical care and healthcare in general. Here's your host, Dr. Hassaballa.
All right, everybody. Hello. Dr. Hassaballa here. Happy to have you here. The Cicadapocolypse is in full force right now. I live in northern Illinois, where brood, if I'm not mistaken, 13 has come out. It's a 17-year cicada cycle, and so 2024 is the year that they all come out. Thank God I am not in central Illinois, where there's another brood on top of brood 13 that's overlapping. I think is brood 19, which is a 13-year cicada cycle, and they're both emerging in central Illinois at the same time. There are literally hundreds of millions of these bugs everywhere, and personally I am revolted by them. They disgust me. And so I just have this fear of these bugs, not because they harm us. They don't. They're actually quite wimpy. They don't do anything to you. You can actually pick them up by the wings and throw them away. Like you can throw them, and I've seen people do that. My own son did that. I can't. They are so gross. Oh my God. And there's a deep disgust of these bugs, and so whenever there's one around, I kind of freeze. I run to my car and I close the door really quickly. I don't have the windows open even if the weather's nice, because I don't want them to fly into the car, because if they fly into the car and I try to wick them away, I'm probably going to get into a car accident. If I was walking the other day and I was on a work call and one flew into my face and I tried to flick it with my phone, and the phone went flying all on the call, and I freaked out, and there's a neighbor that stopped and made sure I was okay. Oh my God, these bugs just gross me out. And so it made me look into research on human disgust, and it seems that human beings are wired to feel disgust towards different things, and this apparently is so that human beings can avoid things with disease. So if there's something like rotten meat or a carcass or something like that, that is innate in human beings, so that they can avoid those things, so they don't get sick. In fact, there's been a lot of research I looked up, but there's a lot of research on its multifaceted nature and its evolutionary significance. And it's primarily understood to be here an adaptive mechanism to protect against disease. And there's a whole bunch of different articles that have been written about this in the medical literature and the psychological literature. And then over time, it's evolved from just avoiding pathogens to disgust of a moral nature, or even a sexual nature, where you have disgust to try to avoid things that are morally repugnant to some people, or something that again that's not desirable sexually. And so if there's some kind of act that is done where some person just doesn't desire that disgust emotion has moved into those forums, right? But ultimately, it's innate in the human being to avoid pathogens, to avoid disease, and I thought was very, very, very fascinating. And they did more research, and they found that the areas of the brain that are activated when disgust is felt are two. There is the insula, the anterior insula, is activated in response to a disgust-inducing stimulus, such as distasteful tastes and facial expressions of disgusts. And then the basal ganglia as well, which is another part of the brain, particularly the putamen, also plays a significant role in the processing of the disgust emotion. Activation of the basal ganglia have been observed it's in response to both physical and moral disgust, even moral disgust. Suggestion that it's involved as well. And so they did lesion studies where they put lesions in particular parts of the brain so that they render those areas non-functional, and it says that damage to the insula and the basal ganglia can lead to deficits in recognizing and experiencing disgust, as evidenced by impaired disgust processing in conditions like Huntington's disease. So not only is it innate in the human being. There's actually a structural physical brain part of the brain, the insula, the anterior insula, and the basal ganglia, where these emotions, when these emotions are elicited, that they're activated. And I think it's just fascinating. And throughout this whole time with the Cicadapocolypse, my basal ganglia and anterior insula have been on fire. And I think they're peaking now. The numbers are peaking now in northern Illinois. I really hope so, and I pray to God that their numbers are going to start to decrease so that I can, and they're loud. Oh my God, they're loud. So that we can get on with our summer without worrying about these harmless but disgusting bugs landing on me and making me freak out. Anyway, thanks so much for your time and attention. Until next time, this is Dr. Hassaballa for Healthcare Musings. Thank you for watching. To get every episode delivered directly to your inbox, please subscribe at healthcaremusings.com.